Okay, today what we want to do is we want to learn about something called a coordinate plane. And a coordinate plane is made up of two number lines, thus the word co, which means to share. And again, excuse me, we all know what a number line looks like, okay? And we all know now that on the number line we have a positive direction and a negative direction. To the right of 0 is positive, to the left of 0 is negative. Okay, and this horizontal number line that runs left to right, that's horizontal, is called the x-axis, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. But when you have a coordinate plane, you take another number line exactly like this one, and you rotate it up and down like this. Okay, and again, now what we have here, okay, is we have the coordinate plane. And this second vertical number line that goes up and down is called the y-axis. So this is called the x-axis, and this is called the y-axis. And again, you say, why do they call it the x-axis and the y-axis? Because this is where you get your x values from horizontally, and this is where you get your y values from vertically. By the way, this one point right here in the center, okay, is called the origin. And that's because that's where both number lines start, at 0. From 0 go to the right, from 0 go to the left. From 0 go up, from 0 go down. By the way, please notice going up is positive, going down is negative. So this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and this point right there in the middle is called the origin. And you must know the different parts of this, okay? Now, the next thing we have to do is figure out what an ordered pair is. And by the way, it's called an ordered pair, number one, because it's two numbers. That's where you get pair from. A pair is two. And it's in order, but it's not in order greatest to least. It's in order alphabetically. And this is very important because most people who mess up the order that you put the ordered pair in. Because in order, the ordered pair always gives you the x value first and then the y value second. Okay? Because x comes before y in the alphabet. We're in alphabetical order, so the ordered pair is always numbered x and then y. And again, to figure out where an ordered pair belongs, okay, it's sort of like playing Battleship. I hope a lot of you played Battleship when you were younger. I was shocked one time I asked the class who ever played Battleship, and most of them looked at me like I was crazy. But I think most of you have played Battleship before. And if you have played Battleship before, remember when you want to shoot at a chip, you'll say something like A2, and then you'll go to A on the top and 2 on the side, and you'll find out where they meet. Well, that's exactly what you do here. If I have a problem like 1, 2, the ordered pair 1, 2, 1 is my x value, 2 is my y value. To find out where that's located, you go one place to the right, that's 1 on the x-axis, that's the x value, and then you go 2 up, that's your y value. So that right there is the ordered pair 1, 2. All right? Again, if I had a problem like a -3, 1, I'd have to start with a -3 on the x-axis, that's right here, and then a +1 on the y-axis, and that would be like right here, would be a -3, +1, okay? And then you could have something like a -5, -4, and that would be a -5 places to the left on the x-axis, because you're to the left of 0 and -5, and then 4 places down because you're a -4 on the y-axis, 4 places down. So a -5 and a -4 meet right about right there. And if I had something like a +3, -2, I would go 3 places on the x and a -2 places on the y, 3 places to the right, 2 places down, and I would meet right there, and that would be a positive 3, negative 2. By the way, you would notice that the x-axis and the y-axis cut this thing into 4 parts. And we learned when we were talking about geometry, quadrilateral was a 4-sided polygon because quad means 4. So each of these areas is called a quadrant because there are 4 of them. And this is called quadrant 1. And it's Roman numeral 1. This is quadrant 2, Roman numeral 2. This would be quadrant 3, Roman numeral 3. And this is quadrant 4. And again, in Roman numerals, 4 is not 4 I's, it's an IV. And again, when you name your quadrants, you do not name them with numbers, cardinal numbers, you name them with Roman numerals. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So you start with quadrant 1, and that would be a positive X and a positive Y, because this is where, in real life, this is where most things wind up in quadrant 1, the first quadrant. That's why it's called quadrant number 1. And then you go counterclockwise to figure out the other ones. By the way, for years I couldn't figure out why they went counterclockwise. To me, it seems like it would have made more sense to go clockwise. And one day it just kind of hit me like, duh, of course I know why. And again, the reason it's counterclockwise is, remember when I took the y-axis away from the x-axis, I rotated it up, and the positive numbers went counterclockwise and the negative numbers went counterclockwise. That's why the quadrants go counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like when you've got your y-axis by rotating up, that's how you get it. So again, the things that you need to know here are 4 things. First of all, you need to know your x-axis and your y-axis. The x-axis is the horizontal, the y-axis is the vertical one. And again, the second thing you need to know is your origin is in the middle here. The third thing you need to know is your quadrant, start quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. And the last thing you need to know is how to find an ordered pair. And an ordered pair is in alphabetical order, which means X always comes before Y. And that's the most important thing there, is for X to be before Y. By the way, one that always causes people trouble is when one of the ordered pair is 0. Like, for example, if I said 0, 3. Well, 0, 3 means X is 0 and Y is 3. So I start at 0 on the x-axis and I go a positive 3 up on the y. So 0, 3 is actually on the y-axis. If I had something like a negative 2, 0, the negative 2 is on the x-axis and the 0 is on the y-axis. So, excuse me, your negative 2, 0 actually winds up being a number on the x-axis. A negative 2 on x, 0 on y, give you that. So if you have a 0 for x, you're on the y-axis, and if you have a 0 for y, you're on the x-axis. So this is what your next IXL assignment is going to be on, knowing the parts of a coordinate plane, the x-axis and the y-axis, quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, and the origin, and also how to name ordered pairs. Now, a lot of you have told me in the past that you learned how to do this with ALEKS. And if you did, then good, you got a good head start. If you didn't, it's not that hard. But again, what people all mess up is they'll say the y value before the x value, okay? And that way, they'll get it totally messed up, okay? Ordered pair means x comes before y. So make sure when you're graphing ordered pairs, you always put x first.